But all the follows are greatly appreciated. All right.
Ready?
We ready, boys. It's 8:33. We're about to kick it off. Usually we would have two more, at least one more person, my boy Ian. But he's a buster and didn't make it. So it's about to rock it clean, nice, simple, and clean out here. My name is Tito. If you guys don't know, I'm a Smash 4 caster. But more importantly for this podcast, I've been playing Pokemon competitively since 2011. I've been to Worlds. I've been to multiple tournaments. So that's who I am. And I'm being joined by my homie PKSparkxx. This man's OD at Pokken. All right, out here with Chandelure, this a giant Pokemon fan. Also plays the Pokemon competitive scene. So we got two great minds here to talk about everything that is Pokemon, and I really, really appreciate you guys coming. And PK, thank you for doing this with me, man. It's really cool of you.
No, thank you for having me, man. This should be very fun. And don't be hyping me up. I'm alright at Pokken.
I mean, you definitely out here chucking fireballs and stuff like
lasers,
fireballs, wisps, will of the wisps. It is a very exciting time to be a Pokemon fan, and we have so many things that we need to talk about, so many things we need to cover, and not forever to do it. Just as for the chat. There are a couple things you can do if you want to be involved. Number one, all the topics are going to be over here at the bottom that we're going to be talking about. Today, we're going to be talking about VGC 2016 and more importantly, like ORAS as a game. Wrapping it up, our thoughts. Then we're going to talk about Pokken. Scizor just dropped. We're going to talk a little bit about that. Talk about why the scene is dead in most of the country. We'll talk about we'll talk about it. Also, we're going to talk about VGC. The 2017 rule set, which PK and I agree is OD. So we're gonna.
It's looking pretty wild.
It's looking pretty good. And then finally, we're gonna talk about Sun and Moon. So one of the most wild games. Oh, sorry, I just dropped. One of the most wildly anticipated games in recent memory. So we got a lot to cover, but if you guys have questions, we will be taking those at the end after we're done talking about all that. We'll be taking those. Use the hashtag BattleFrontier on Twitter, and I have my tablet here, right here, ready to go, and we'll be taking questions at the end. So if you have questions, thoughts, you guys want us to, there's a wealth of knowledge and experience, and we love the game. And if you're watching, we assume you love the game too. And so that's a cat, dog.
Yeah, she just jumped on me and clawed my arm.
That's crazy. But yeah, make sure you use the hashtag BattleFrontier, and we will get to that. Like I said, usually it's going to be three of us, but Ian couldn't make it due to some travel issues. But let's talk about VGC 2016, all of ORAS, man. It feels like we've been playing Omega Ruby, Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire forever. And it's kind of, even though I love the game, I'm kind of happy to see it go. But dude, I love ORAS, man.
I have issues with 6th gen. Competitively, yeah, it was great. I wish that they expanded on ORAS more than they already did. I'm sorry, than they did. Because it really, besides Megas, it was really lackluster, and 6th gen really does feel passable in a lot of regards. I mean, it introduced fairy typing, which was great. It introduced Mega Evolutions, which was great. But then afterwards, it was really just lackluster. And it really just made me more sad than it did impress me. I mean, and then an unfortunate situation is that the meta staled hard. It's ridiculous how quickly it staled, but it's because the megas weren't actually balanced.
Yeah.
I mean, even VGC got to that point where, and that might just be Pokemon in general.
Yeah.
But it's like it staled out hard. Everything got really static, and you knew what to expect. Every once in a while, you may face somebody that brings out that weird set, but if you wanted to win, you knew what monster you had to bring, and it was just, I enjoyed it. It just got really old too soon.
Yeah, I kind of, and you would appreciate this, I kind of equivocate like XY and ORAS to Rabbit format in Yu-Gi-Oh! Like the whole length of Rabbit format where it was Rabbit, then it was Macro Rabbit, and then it was like Insectors, and there was Wind-Ups, and there was these three decks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you see what I'm saying? It was like these three decks, And yeah, there was a little variance between them, but for like a year and a half, it was basically you play those 3 decks or you don't feel like winning. And I kind of equivocated to that. I personally I loved Oras a lot more than I liked X and Y. X and Y was kind of like whatever to me. It was kind of a means to an end. It got me back into competitive Pokemon. But the one thing I will say about X and Y is that I feel like it really opened up competitive Pokemon to a lot of people, just because it made the game really accessible, right? Super training was a huge thing. The changes to we're forgetting the biggest one, the biggest change in my opinion, as far as like just in game, was the change to the EXP share, where it applied to your whole
Yeah.
party. Like people forget about that, people sleep on that, and that's a big deal. So
They went back to ESPR, man. First
yeah,
gen.
man. So I don't know. Like I'm kind of mixed about it. Like I said, I'm happy to see it go, but I think what it fulfilled its purpose, man. Especially Oras. I feel like Oras's whole goal was to get us ready for Sun and Moon, and I am really excited for Sun and Moon. And like you said, like I do think that it did stale the meta in VGC a lot. You didn't feel like you could experiment a lot, but that's like you said, because everything was unbalanced. So.
I do agree that X and Y was lackluster, but I gave it a pass because I felt like they were more so trying to introduce the fairy typing. Got cat fur everywhere. They were trying to introduce the fairy typing more than they were trying to make a really building up the whole Pokemon and Kalos. And I'm fine with that. I was really hoping though that we were going to get a follow up to Kalos because the way that they pushed it off, literally, if you moved your Pokemon from X and Y to Oris, you couldn't move them back. You had to move up to Oris. They shut down Kalos. They shut down X and Y.
Yeah.
And when you had two powerful Pokemon like Xerneas and Yveltal, who don't get any real shine, because let's be real here, they were a tool. They were a plot device. They came out, they were used, and then they just went away. So their own lore wasn't explored.
Yeah.
And that's what makes me mad. They really just dumped on it, didn't really give it a chance to say, hey, this is what this room is. Like right now, we're just getting it built up. We're going to really dive into it with Xerneas and whatnot. Because they had Xerneas I'm not Xerneas. They had Zygarde just sitting in a cave, and nothing came of it. Nothing came of it. Like you had so much to go, and then they're moving him over to Sun and Moon. I'm like, do we really need Sun and Moon right now? Could you have not just expanded on the lore that you had with Kalos? But no, they decided to push off. Like they're the ones Pokemon Company is the one who killed X and Y. They are the ones who killed X and Y. Why? I don't know. Makes me sad.
I mean,
screw you, TPCI. Screw you, DC was taken. They're one of them now.
Damn, he definitely is one of them though. Like,
Yeah, he's one of them now.
But shouts to DC. But I don't know, man. Like one of the I kind of see that point. I very do. But I feel like the way you could have done it is like looking back on it, you definitely could have gone, all right, so if I'm an Oras, right? Oras actually is a long ass game, right? But the thing is, like, comparatively, in the grand scheme of all Pokemon games, it's not the longest. Like, I'm pretty sure, and someone will correct me, but I'm pretty sure the longest time, like game time wise, from beginning to end, is Heart Gold, Soul Silver. Like, I think those two are probably the longest games because you have to essentially play 2 whole Pokemon games in one game.
Probably.
So
I mean, in Heart Gold Soul Silver, Johto was played like half of a game.
Yeah.
Because they let you speed through so much, and like half the towns didn't have the issues that they had before.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, but I don't know. It just felt like it gave this kind of appeal to it. The fact that it's like, damn, I can go back to Kanto. That's crazy. And I feel like you could have done that with Oras. Like even if it was just like a select few towns, right? Like you don't have to play the whole game again, but you definitely could have gone. I mean, you still have all those assets. You definitely could have been like, all right, I beat Team Magma or Team Aqua or whatever. I did whatever. I'm at the end, but oh my gosh, I got this ticket. Wait, what's this new place? I can go to Kalos? That's crazy. Like I feel like that would have been super cool, like a way to kind of do it, and it wouldn't have been hard because they already have the assets. Like that, they already had it. Like you just could have like plug them in.
my main thing is that I agree. Like on that one, I'm hoping that they do that with 7th gen at least. Like
Mm-hmm.
let us go back to Kalos. Or let's go somewhere else. I don't know. Like let's just say, hey, so you beat the island challenges. Why don't you take up a traditional challenge? Nearby is the Kalos region. Blah 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 blah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh shoot, you found all the Zygarde cells. Then you can go to Terminus Cave in the Kalos region and blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
That's my hope is.
Yeah.
That's what my hope is. I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't want him. I'm fine with the Zygarde cells and all that being like sprinkled across Alola, but I would like it if they had to take it back to Terminus to bring everything back together and bring some life back in the Kalos. Like just something. Give us the traditional gym. Like give us the Heart Gold Silver treatment, please. I like familiarity. I like familiarity. Give this to me, please.
Like, and I kind of one of my biggest problems with the Pokemon games for a very long time has been is that they feel very separated. They don't feel like one universe. They don't feel like one contiguous body. Like they don't feel like at the most you'll get like a reference or two to like other regions, but for the most part everything feels like it's planets away. And canonically they're supposed to be travelable. Like you're supposed to be able to theoretically get on a ship. Like Johto theoretically is supposed to be right next to Kanto, right? And like and theoretically Hoenn is supposed to be on the other side of Johto. Like and then once you go into not Kalos, the Unova region, then you go to the other continent, and Unova and Kalos are supposed to be close together. And then the islands, right, are supposed to be like this whole separate thing, which I get, and you get this really cool Hawaiian aesthetic, which I think is really creative and really cool, but it feels too separated. I feel like, all right, so I'm a Pokemon trainer, and I'm here in this world, but this world only exists in like 100 miles north, south, east, and west. Like that doesn't make any sense to me.
I was thinking about that the earlier today. Actually, I was just like, wait, they have all these different places, but where in the world are they mapped out? You know how when the South Park came out, Stick of Truth, they actually had to map out everything that was there.
Yeah.
So it gave you a sense of how South Park was shaped. That's what I feel they need to do, or I would like them to do with Pokemon, with the Pokemon regions. Because we know, like we literally know just from playing Heart Gold or Silver or whatnot, that Johto and Kanto are right next to each other. It's like it's literally America and Canada or Mexico, whatever you want to say. The rest of them are pretty much like just there, especially in the anime because Ash is always
he's walking
taking a ship.
like,
No, not even that. No, he's taking a ship. He's taking a ship to places. When he went to Hoenn, he took a ship to and from. So it's like we don't know where they are though. I want to know where they're at.
Yeah, and like Midnight says something in the chat too. Is like all the stories are theoretically supposed to take place around the same time. Like that's kind of like because if you watch Pokemon Origins, like it's giving you the impression that the protagonists from Hoenn and Johto, right, as far as right now, are doing all of their shit a few months after Red's adventures. Like
that's definitely true. Red does his thing first. He is. I think Kanto and Hoenn actually works at the same time. I think they happen at the same time.
Yeah, I think Johto
was after Kanto, which is why you find Red up there on top of the mountain. And there is some timeline to it, but again, they've never spoke or laid it out. Like give us the Zelda timeline book. Give it to us.
Like it's just like it's not hard. It's just like a graphic, right? Like all I want is like a graphic that says, "Look, this is the world of Pokemon. All right, and you are here." And then this is the time, like it's like you are here.
This man talking about a mall map.
Like I'm definitely looking for a map of like the Mall of America, right? That's all I want. Yes. You are here. Like that's all I want. Like it's not that hard, and I feel like it would answer a lot of questions if you were just to see the whole world on a map. Like, and it's just one of those things where it's like it's very simple and it wouldn't take a lot of effort, if at all.
I feel like they don't want to do that yet because it's like once you map it out, then they could be putting themselves into a hole. I think it's more like, hey, I'm getting to the end with like the Pokemon world about to come to an end, so this is where everything is laid out at. That could be their reason. That could be the reason.
Yeah, but overall, XY was, in my opinion, probably it was better than Black and White, but worse than everything else. In my opinion, as far as like where I would personally rank it. Like, I would put it under Johto, under Kanto, obviously, and under Hoenn, as far as, like, personal preference.
Did you just say that X and Y is better than Black and White?
Yes.
I'm judging you.
All right, that's fine. I don't like Black and White that much. As games. I don't like them as games that much. That's just me.
All right, well, it's been a pleasure.
Anyway, I'm about to do this whole damn show by myself.
How can you not? I'm offended. I am offended. I am offended.
I don't know, man. There are some Pokemon in Black and White that I'm like, damn, that Pokemon's dope. But like, the story is weird. Like I don't like any of the art.
The darkest, if not the darkest.
But it's like weird. Okay, my problem is that the story doesn't feel in tune with like the art style, and like all the characters are like only a few characters are like okay, but everyone else is just weird and doesn't make any sense. Like I don't know. Like I feel like XY story was also super random, but I felt like the characters were more. I like the character design more, and like the Pokemon I like more, mainly because I like fairy types a little bit. Like, but
I can't agree.
All right, I mean you don't have to. I'm not.
No, I know. I'm just saying, like, I can't, like, 5th gen to me. It was perfect. The story was amazing. The world was amazing. The gyms were A1. The music, the Pokemon that was introduced, the characters that you dealt with, and again the story. Like the only thing that was bad about it was that weather was broken competitively, so you would have like 5 or 6. Was it you had to deal with like weather teams were broken. Weather team was OU. That was the only thing that made 5th gen competitive bad. Otherwise, 5th gen was just perfect to me. I can't.
I kind of see it. It's just like I guess it's just like not. I'm not saying it's bad. It's just not my cup of tea. That's like not what I like when I think of Pokemon. I don't think of X and Y, or I don't think of Black and White. I think actually for me, I think of Ruby, Sapphire, like when I think of Pokemon. But again, that's because I 3rd gen is my favorite. That's like I said, it's preference. I mean, you can judge me. That's fine. Like
I'm glad you understand what the beard stroke means.
That's fine. You can judge me. That's fine. Anyway, so like I said, either way, we are. I think we're in agreement that we're happy to see Sun and Moon show up. We are happy to say goodbye to the XY ORAS format. We're going to talk about the 2017 rule set in a little bit, but you got anything else you want to say about XY ORAS before we move on?
Zygarde better get love because I actually really love that Pokemon. The music,
which form though? The dog?
No,
it's a random dog.
The 50% version is what we knew it as, but now they have 10%, 25%, 100%. It's just weird. I don't quite.
All right, so the snail is the 50% one, the Gundam is the 100% one, and the 10% one is the dog.
I think the 10% one is the dog, and then you have the cells and whatnot.
Yeah, and then the 100% one is the Gundam.
Yeah.
All right, but. Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I'm actually kind of interested to see. I'm actually surprised they're continuing with the Zygarde kind of myth, like, because I feel like Zygarde was kind of like an afterthought, like Zygarde was like kind of like whatever, and I feel like most people, unless you were like a hunter, like don't like unless you like hunted Pokemon, collected them, like most people don't even try and like find it. Like I feel like most of them didn't even try to like or care.
I mean, that's because they didn't say anything about it. It was just suddenly Zygarde. Like, oh, all right. But then you catch him and you see like, holy crap, it's a ground dragon type with monstrous defense and can get Dragon Dance?
Yeah.
What? Yo, Garchomp, just shut up.
Yeah,
I mean, Garchomp is only better because he's just naturally faster. You don't have to spend a turn getting Dragon Dance up. But once you do, well, not to mention, Garchomp's moveset is also wider than Garchomp. Than Zygarde, but Zygarde still hits hard with Outrage, still hits hard, has priority E-Speed, which, not many Pokemon at all still have.
Yeah.
You get Earthquake, you get Stone Edge, you get Dragon Tail, you can be defensive, you can be offensive. I mean, it's a great Pokemon.
Yeah. So, but I'm actually kind of interested, and we'll talk about this when we talk about Sun and Moon and VGC 2017, but I'm actually kind of excited to see what kind of Pokemon that they bring back, as far as, like, not Alola form, just, like, basic Pokemon. Like, I'm gonna be straight up. If Ludicolo is not in this game, this doesn't make any sense. Like, it makes zero sense. Like that, if Ludicolo has to literally come from Alola. Like, there's no way he comes from anywhere else, dog. Yeah, do the dance. Out here, Ludicolo is the only Pokemon that actually throws hands in battle, by the way. Anyway, all right, so we're going to go ahead and put a line through that. Let's actually switch gears a tiny, tiny bit. Let's talk about a game that you're well known for. Let's talk about Pokken.
Hey, Pokken my jam.
Pokken Tournament just released a trailer for their new DLC character. I guess it's... I mean, I don't even know if I would call it DLC because it doesn't look like it's coming to America for a very long time. But Scizor, we both saw it. How do you feel about the metal bug?
Well, when I first saw it, my first thought was, "Where's Darkrai?" Where's Darkrai?
I mean, but like, what? Where is he though?
Like
you get up real close to the mic. Hey, yeah, this is cool, but yo, where's Darkrai?
Yeah, yeah, Taboo Scizor, I'm for it, but where's that Darkrai at though?
Like you gotta get real close to the mic.
Like, yo, I see, that burst though. You see the metal blades and whatnot, but where's that Darkrai at though?
How come I get no DLC in my Nintendo?
You had it and then you didn't continue it, so it's like come on.
Like even if I don't even care if he's bad at this point, but like where he at? Like
I just want you can't announce him and then just.
You can't announce more DLC when you haven't released the first. Like
exactly.
But
the answer, like when I first saw Scizor, he's pretty decent. He looks unique. He looks like a brand new character. I'm excited for it. Any new character, I'm just like, hell yeah, let's get more of it. He looks like a really different character. It seems to be more big body and foreboding, similar to like Ganondorf, I'd say.
Yeah,
like, he doesn't look really fast, but the hurt box he puts around him is like, you got to be careful with your approaches. So I would say he's more like Ganondorf if you want to compare him to anybody in Smash for familiarity. But yeah, he seems like a decent Pokemon, especially that burst attack.
I would actually kind of put him as Falcon. I think he looks like a Falcon, to be real. Because the thing is, like, a lot of his stuff, all right, so, like, a lot of his stuff, from what I saw, right, he doesn't have long string combos from what it looks like, but it looks like he hits you, like, 3 or 4 times, and it's, like, a butt ton of damage, and he also has did you see that sick air grab he has? Like, yeah, that was so sick! Like, oh, gosh. I was just like, wow, you have an air grab, too? Like,
Scizor look like, and then those metal claws, like the way he moves, and then that projectile he throws out in the field phase was like 2 blades that's going at just like, hold up, just like a complete wall of denial. Yeah. Because then you can throw that out, and then you can throw it out, and then you can be charged up and move. Oh, that's another thing. I wonder what charge up moves Scizor is going to have. Because a lot of Pokemon have that. Like how Gengar has Sludge Bomb, Machamp has Scary Face, Chandelure has Minimize, and the Flex thing as well. Yeah. I wonder what Scizor will have.
I'm actually kind of interested to see. Also, like, on a bigger note, I guess there's no way around it at this point, but like, how are you releasing? I'm not sure how the game's doing in Japan. You would probably know better than I would, but I'm not sure how Pokken's doing in Japan. Not even in the arcades. We're just talking about in general. Because this is not a console port. This is a arcade. Like, it's added to the arcade version. So, I'm just very, very confused at how the Tekken company. I'm not sure who's doing. Like, I'm not sure who's in charge of
Bandai Namco.
Bandai Namco's in charge of post-production on, I'm assuming, as far as like releasing new content, community development, all this other stuff, which Nintendo has always been bad at. Like, as far as Nintendo has, the Pokemon Company does a very, very good job with community development, but the Nintendo specifically has not done a great job. Like, look at Smash. Like, that's the biggest example, which is by far their most popular and played game, and they can't even get, like, they're not even involved in any way. So I'm kind of interested in what the thought process is. Are they trying to get more people to buy the game and play the game, but people already are not playing the game because you haven't patched the game? to a rate where, or you patch the game, but not to a rate where it makes more people play. And plus, the game is like not easy to play locally. Like it's strictly an online game, and that's I feel like is the biggest problem is that
I mean,
tournaments
it's not
are
strictly. You can do it on was it locally? It
yeah
definitely is
on
possible,
LAN.
and I can't disagree that the way that they have it played set up is the best way to play. Was it locally? Just yeah,
Yeah.
just because of the concept of it. I mean, the whole 3D atmosphere. Can you imagine how trying to play that on one screen, literally one
Mm-hmm.
screen, and you're being on the other side of the wall? Like this isn't Mario Tennis. Like
Yeah.
it's gonna be really awkward because you're moving around the
Yeah.
entire time and your inputs get changed up.
Mm-hmm.
It's not your traditional
Mm-hmm.
2D game.
Yeah.
So it's not possible. I mean, and then a lot of people like to compare it to, oh well, if they could do it for Dragon Ball Z, they can do it for this. Pause. How many people actually play Dragon Ball Z Xenoverse 2 like local? And if you do, it's that awkward split screen thing that can just really
It's bad.
that really slows the game down. It's not optimal. People
Yeah.
normally play online.
Mm-hmm.
And
And
then those tournaments don't even have like
yeah.
local tournaments. So I mean, you can compare it to that, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's not. I
It's
don't
not
think
the
it's a
same.
fair.
It's not the
Yeah, it's not
same.
a fair comparison.
And like and another thing that okay, so if I'm doing this, if I work at Bandai Namco, right, and I'm like, all right, so LAN is it is what it is. We can't fix that because this is the best way to play the game, and I agree with that. That you should set up a scenario which tournament play is the best way to play the game, not the most convenient. Usually those two things are the same, but in this case it's not, right? So I get that. So if I'm like, all right, people aren't playing the game locally. If they play the game online, more people are going to buy the game, they're going to promote the game, they're going to stream the game. Why
Right.
not add a spectator mode so that people can
I would
actually
love that.
effectively so people can actually stream your game? B, why not add like some sort of lobby system or tournament mode? That way people can play your game like on a grander scale. That way more people can play your game because let's say that you and I want to host a Pokemon tournament online. Guess what? We can't do that at all. Like there's no feasible way to do it unless you're playing in every match.
You
So
got to remember. You got to remember that Pokemon is run by an old school,
yep,
an old school Japanese
yep,
company, and they have old school Japanese mindsets, and they're stuck in their ways, which isn't a bad thing. But if you're trying to keep up with today's age, it's not going to work. Like here's a good example. Here's a great example. Super Mario 3D World, fantastic game,
yep,
amazing multiplayer, beautiful game, beautiful music, difficulty is decent, all that and more. They asked in an interview with Miyamoto, why wasn't online multiplayer added? Miyamoto responds with, oh, we could have added online multiplayer. In fact, it's something that we considered. And I'm paraphrasing here, by
yeah,
the way.
yeah,
But in the end, we decided to go with the classic living room feeling for, gaming. I'm just like, you realize, of course, that that's not how things work anymore. That's the same thing when it comes to like these online streamers. I feel like Nintendo, they don't embrace that because they feel like it's not worth their time. They feel like, they don't work. I mean, think about it. YouTube, Nintendo is the only company that will strike videos down on YouTube for you playing their games. The only company that'll do that. And what is the same thing with Pokemon Company? If you upload like the trailer, or whatever, they'll shut you down. And it's like, why? Why don't you let people who have a following embrace your game and stream it to them so that way they can take what they want to other people? Instead, they shut it down. They discourage any sort of sharing because in their mind, they're the only ones that need to be there to really push their games out, which I can understand. But you know what? If you have people like me, I'm what's seen with my subscriber count, with what I do. I now have a title as a brand influencer, a gaming influencer. Now, normally I don't really consider myself that. I consider myself a Let's Play. I'm somebody who likes the game, and I would present it out there, and people want me to play the games, and I get that. I understand that. So if you have somebody like me who is willing to play your game and push it out to their audience, no matter how big or how small it is, and they're willing to push it out there, why do you discourage that? Why do you discourage people from playing your game and sharing their experiences with somebody else? Whether it's local multiplayer or whatnot. And that all goes back to what I was saying, that when it comes down to building it up, the older Japanese companies just feel like they can do it on their own. And meanwhile, you have Call of Duty, you have Halo, you have League of Legends, all these big tournaments that come from mostly North America. Some of them are overseas, but most of them are North America. And look at how big they are.
Yeah.
Look at how involved they are. Look at the Capcom tournament series. I believe Capcom is actually a Japanese tournament, but they've blended more so in. Like they embraced the whole fighting.
They
game
definitely have, like with Capcom of America, they definitely have talked about it.
Yeah.
With that and solved it. And I understand what you're saying. And you're a perfect example. But like, let's take even like a smaller example. Let's take. All right. So let's say I don't have a big following, right? I don't even have right. I don't even have a sub button, right? But why? So let's say, hey, you want to promote your game, PK? And you're like, yeah, I have a following, so there should be some form of compensation, right? If it's an indie developer, right, you get the game for free. Right? Like that's a but for me without a following, right? Let's say I buy the game and I stream it and only 10 people watch it. Well, guess what? By me streaming that game, there are a bunch of people. Like even if it's 10 people, because 10 people becomes 20 people, becomes 40 people, becomes 60. And I mean, you know this. And you know this. Like if 10 people go, damn, Tito is playing Battle Right and that game looked dope. I'm gonna pick up Battle Right. And guess what? That's more money in their pocket and they didn't even have to pay me. So
right. You paid them.
I paid them. I paid them to promote their game. So I understand, and it goes from all extremes. Now, this is kind of like this is the age-old question of why won't Japanese companies support their games, and that's kind of been a struggle as the years have gone on. And wrapping up Pokken, I feel like if they want that game to succeed, and I feel like it's not too late to let that game succeed. I feel like that game, because they're still releasing content, I feel like especially with the NX coming out, I feel like if they were to do a complete relaunch of that game, right, and they were to completely overhaul it, and the way they were going to approach it, the way they were going to market it, the way that they were going to promote their community, because that game, I love playing that game and watching that game. But the reason why I don't own that game anymore is because nobody around me plays. So, like, it's just one of those things where I'm like, damn, like, you had all this potential. You have someone who loves Pokemon for over, like, what it seems like over 2 decades. Like, come on, man. Like, even if I can't come to play your game because you are not supporting it, then why would anybody else buy your game? So
that was another big reason that failed with Pokken tournaments. That a lot of people were just turned off by the phase shifting, and it sucks that so many people were so quickly to dismiss how it is because phase shifts aren't complicated. You do a big enough hit, and it changes the phase. You go to 3D, and then when you're in 3D, then the whole idea is just to the whole idea is just to push forward. Like okay, this to everybody who may be watching and is new to the game of Pokken tournament. When you're in field phase, which is a 3D run around phase, that is basically your neutral. That is your neutral. You are both at the same spot. You're trying to get an advantage over your opponent, and you have so much range to do so. Yeah. When you do that, you have your opponent, you can have them stuck in a corner or whatever, but you're getting the knockdown if you win the field phase. And the way you win the field phase is by changing it to dual phase. Dual phase is the main phase to Pokken tournament. Outside of that, when when a phase shift happens, you go back to field phase. It's normally when somebody's getting beat up, and they do that to try and reset it. Now, there are some Pokemon that have busted field phases, so they can just follow up immediately and keep you in a vortex. But that's something that needs to be fixed. But the idea of it is that dual phase is when you've gotten an advantage, and now you're one-on-one, going left and right, trying to either push your advance or play defense and take advantage back. And if you keep losing from there, then a field phase happens, and you get pushed back, and then it's resetting it. So literally, it's really easy to push through. To go back to my original point, Nintendo or Bandai Namco or Pokemon Company, however you want to look at it, they didn't do a great job of explaining it. They kind of just assumed like, hey, we're just gonna put it out there, see what happens, and I mean it. Like you expected it to survive on its own on the laurels of Pokemon, which is if that's really what they thought, it's a bit arrogant.
Yeah, I agree.
It's definitely a bit arrogant if that's how they wanted it to be. Because I mean, yeah, Pokemon is a fighting game. You would think that it would sell, but it's what
everybody's wanted forever, but the execution was poor.
Exactly.
So
They didn't hype it up and they didn't get behind it. I mean, they've already started announcing stuff for the VGC Tour 2017, and guess what? Game isn't on it.
yep. So
And I'm sure they feel like that because, like, hey, well, we didn't get that many entrants during the tournament the entire season. We didn't get that many people watching. We didn't get that many people, even spectating at the event. But you know what? That's no one else's fault but them.
yeah, that's no one else's
Pokken
fault.
Tournament has the makings to be a great game. They just have to get behind it. They have to promote. You know what the most bullcrap thing was? Do you remember when that new patch came out 3 days before regional?
Yep.
It was the same weekend as Apex 2016.
Yep.
But I mean, the one that I'm talking about that was in Boston, whatever. That was an official tournament. You mean to tell me you're going to change up one of the most broken characters in this game drastically and not give people time to practice?
Yeah.
I want you to know I was at E3 that week. So I had no chance to between then and go to Apex to get any practice up against Shadow Mewtwo. And you know what happened? I faced men's at losers quarters for 5th place, and I got 6-0'd because I had no idea what to do against this new version of Shadow Mewtwo because I had no time to practice.
Yeah. Plus that game it's literally all matchup knowledge. Like it's literally that whole game is just people were like, "Hey man, that game is rock paper scissors," and I'm like, "No, that game is literally." It's like Pokemon. If you know the matchup and know how to play it, you can win any matchup. You just have to know how to play it. So
I can't completely disagree with the whole rock paper scissors thing because
it is definitely rock paper scissors, but like a majority of it, like if you know that, let's say rock paper scissors is you have counter, you have grab, you have button, right, or block, right, whichever depending on what side you're on, right.
It's punch hit grab.
Yeah,
punch counter grab.
Punch counter grab, right. So let's use punch counter grab. If you know the matchup, you know what certain characters can do at any given moment. So you know, all right, so basically the only button that's going to work here is rock. So I'm going to pick paper because you can realistically only throw out rock. Like, so it's just one of those things where it's like.
And then there are some Pokemon that can mix it up, which is like Garchomp. He can charge up a grab and then cancel it into a punch or whatever.
That's so
sick. That's different. That's like his own special niche. I'm fine with that.
Well, Pikachu Libre.
Pikachu Libre, they'll talk about it.
Come on, man.
But you know what? I'm fine with that because Chandelure also has an ability where she can just bust any counter. You go for counter, and I go for small, go any Pokemon attack, I'm breaking it. Because that's my Pokemon ability. So I'm fine with that. That every Pokemon has their own thing to not have every match be purely rock, paper, scissors. But a lot of people, and this is just like human error, like even the people who play it, a lot of people like to say, oh, the game is dead. Well, the game is dead because you won't give it a chance.
Yeah.
You won't give it a chance because you decided to write it off as something very simple as just saying, oh, it's rock, paper, scissors. Oh, it's just, okay. Either rock, paper, scissors or Phil phase sucks. And it's like, you're the one who's limiting yourself.
Yeah.
You're the one who's making excuses, but they want to speak as if you're speaking from somebody with experience, which you're not. Give the damn game a chance.
Yeah. Like
Play it.
Yeah. It's a good game, and I really want it to succeed, and hopefully with the release of the NX, maybe they'll do something with it. I doubt it, to be honest, but, we'll see. Like I said, guys, my name's Tito. This is PKSparkxx. If you'd like to go ahead and talk to us at any point, we're going to be answering questions at the end of the show. Use the hashtag BattleFrontier on Twitter. I have my tablet up right here, so please use that. You don't have to. You can tag us. You can do whatever. But if you have any questions, go ahead and tweet us or put it in the chat. And if I get to it, I'll get to it. But the best way to do it is to tweet.
I would like to address one thing before we move on. The statement by Seji07 in the chat, who said, yeah, 1% of the available Pokemon were in it too. I understand that it would be an unrealistic expectation to have all Pokemon, but the selection was laughably small based on that selection. And to that, I have to say, you have to remember that there were so many Pokemon that were also available as assist Pokemon. I think that we have 1, 2, 3, 4. I think it's like near 30.
Yeah, it's around 30. It's around 30.
Like 30, 32, something like that. It's a good amount of support Pokemon. And then we have like 14, 15 playable characters. Now, you're asking for a bigger roster. How many fighting games that start off have a big roster? You can look at Mortal Kombat. You can look at Street Fighter. You can look at Smash. You can look at Ultimate, well, not Marvel's Capcom. That actually started off really big because of how it is. But even then, like even that roster grew exponentially as more installments.
Street Fighter.
Big. Like Street Fighter started off with 2, Ryu and Ken. Then Street Fighter 2 came out when it went up to like 8 or 10, somewhere around
Yeah.
there. But every video game roster when the series first begins is small.
And that's
They even introduced a new character with Shadow Mewtwo, and people still aren't happy with it. And it's like they had an unrealistic expectation of the character roster with the game. And I think because a lot of people were coming over from Smash, and you came over from Smash, which again, you have to remember that Smash started out with a roster of 12, 4 hidden characters, 8 standard. So 12 characters total. Then you jump up to Melee's ones, then you jump up to Brawl one, and then Smash Wii U darn near doubled that. You know, but still, you start off from small and you get big with every installment. So I feel like people were just spoiled.
Yeah.
I think people were just spoiled and they wanted more than what was realistically possible. They're not going to put in all that time and effort to make models for all these Pokemon and all these fighters and whatnot if it's not going to sell. So they're testing the waters with some solid choices. And I think they did a darn good job of picking mons to really be represented in Pokken tournament. I mean, have you ever heard Sakurai talk about that model, especially with the model overhaul? Every character got a model overhaul when it came to Smash 4. Like that's why, because people were complaining about Ditto's clones from Melee and Brawl. So he said, "All right, fine, no more shortcut. We're gonna do the hard thing, but that stuff takes time.
Yeah,
you got to remember that."
I don't like in the roster for Pokken is a little bit interesting to me because I'm like, all right, man. I would have made some different choices. I'm okay with most of the choices. I would have made some different choices. I think that when you have a game like that and you're trying to set up a standard, I feel like you have to go with what you know works. And the fact that you don't have, for example, Hitmonchan or Hitmonlee in this game is kind of ridiculous because if anything, they'd be like they belong in this game. Like for the sole fact that
I think that's more so about concept, like, you know, what ideas you have for the Pokemon. Yeah, Hitmonlee's the kicking fiend, but I mean, what more can he do besides stretching? He basically be like, well, he wouldn't even be like Dalcine because I guess he would be because like the stretchy arms and stretchy legs, maybe, but I don't know. It just would have seemed weird because again, I don't want to keep comparing it, but it's like going back to Sakurai, how he said that, hey. When I created Luigi, I thought it was personality because I mean let's be real here. Luigi doesn't fight anything like that in real life. He doesn't even fight. Like he's a scaredy cat. So we came up with a whole unique moveset and he applied it to Luigi. That's what you would have to do with Hitmonlee. So maybe when he like not every Pokemon had an idea, or maybe it's an idea that would have been more complicated to make happen than it would have been, you know, worth trying. Especially for the first installment.
Yeah, I mean the roster is very, very interesting to me as far as the choices that they made. I'm okay with most of the choices. The thing that really impresses me about the roster, and just to kind of wrap it up, is I really, really enjoy how much detail it put, or they put into making each character feel different. Every character, yeah, some of the stuff is the same throughout, but every character has something that is unique. Every character has something that is special to that character. I mean, the closest characters are probably I would maybe, and this is stretching it, but like Pikachu and Pikachu Libre are kind of similar, but they're also super different. They play completely different. Like Pikachu Libre is a aggressive, high damage, like grapple character, and Pikachu Libre out here literally is basically just Sheik, like out here doing like big combo damage, very execution heavy. But also rewards you for that execution, where Pikachu Libre is not execution heavy, but Pikachu Libre sucks in neutral. So it's like one of those,
I would say Pikachu Libre sucks in neutral, but you know that's a story for the other time.
Yeah, that's a story, but so like even those two characters feel very different and they play very different. So I don't know. We both want to see the game succeed. We both want to see the game prosper, and hopefully it does.
Play the game.
Play the game.
If you want to play the game, play the game.
Yeah.
And you'll find people who will play the game, and as you keep going, the scene will come back alive. The game is not dead unless you write it off, and then even then, it's only dead to you.
Even Melee died, man. Even Melee died.
Screw Melee.
Damn. Anyway.
Screw Smash 64.
Anyway.
Everybody go play Smash Flash. You didn't even say crazy. That man was stunned.
I'm blown back. I was expecting anything else but Smash Flash. Like that was the one thing I was not expecting. Like that's crazy. All right. we're gonna go ahead and talk about something that's very dear to my heart. Something I'm very, very excited about is VGC 2017. The rule set was announced recently, and I'm just gonna give you guys in the chat for those of you who do not read it. Kind of the TLDR. Basically, what it boils down to is 3 huge major changes to the VGC format as it is to how it will begin in December in Sun and Moon, because that's when it officially starts, even though Premier Challenges are able to start before then. So, first change is that legendaries of all kind are banned. That's usually how it works when a game first starts. So that's standard. I'm like, all right, cool, fine, whatever.
Oh yeah, whenever the game's about to end, they release all legendaries and have people have.
They're just like, whatever, do whatever you want. Like,
yeah, we don't care. It's the last year for this.
Yeah, so when they release a new gen, they usually ban all legendaries. That way, you have to buy the new game. It's marketing, right?
Yep.
The second rule, which shouts to Yu-Gi-Oh, man, and the fact that my wallet, I would have so much more. That's money. Like, we're not even gonna talk about this anyway. The second rule, which is a rule that I find very interesting, and I actually really, the more I think about it, the more I love, is that they switched the timing system of the game to a chess timer. So, which I absolutely love. Okay, so first, for those of you with no context, the way it's been for almost what it seems like forever is that both players get 30 minutes for the whole match, or 20 minutes, or whatever it is, right? So it's 20. They get 20 minutes for everything, right? The whole match lasts 20 minutes.
I thought it was 15 minutes.
Oh, it was 20. It was 30, then it was 20, then it was 15.
Okay.
Yeah, so because you can change that in the tournament when you join like the battle room for the VGC, like you can set the time, like the tournament can officially set the time, but it's like 20 or 15, regardless. Right, and both players have to share that time, and that's the time for the whole match. So what would happen is that it would be a very close match, but if it ever hit timeout, the Pokemon, the trainer with either the most Pokemon or the most health would win, the most percentage health. Now we switch it over to a chess timer, where both players are allotted 10 minutes to make all their decisions in the entire game. So if PK and I are playing, he gets 10 minutes for himself. I get 10 minutes from myself, so that way when I'm making a decision and I'm taking a minute, he doesn't get hit with that minute timer, right?
Yep.
He still, if he took,
so long as I make my move.
Yeah, as long as you make your move, right? So let's say PK takes 45 seconds to make his move, right? So and he's at 9:15, and I take a minute. He stays at 9:15. All right. So I find this super awesome. And then the third choice,
it kills timer stall.
Yeah, it kills timer stall, and I feel like it's just going to speed up play. But, and then the third one, which I was not expecting, especially after the trailer where they said that they still existed, was they banned Megastones entirely, which is I was suspecting but not expecting. But I think they were like, hey man, you know what the new hotness is? Anime. So we're gonna make you use Z moves so you can be as anime as you want. So how do you feel about all of these rules? Do you have a favorite? Do you disagree with any of them? What do we think?
Chess timer. Chess timer is love, life in the true American way, Japanese way as well. That is the greatest thing that everyone's been asking for, especially with the battles being so long. Like and people deliberately take it out. Like, first of all, I hate that when you do a regular Wi-Fi battle, you can't adjust that timing at all. Because then you go into a battle and they have a minute or 99 seconds, a minute and 39 seconds to make the move. And it's like, what the fuck? Like, hurry up. So it's like you sitting there. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's not bad to have all that time sometimes. Because sometimes some situations can just be stressful. It's like, okay, so I need to do this. But like, I think it's better to have it to where a trainer needs to make a decision and make the right decision in a small amount of time, because that's just going to make them better and make them increase their reaction time. And then if you have somebody who is making their moves, rather quickly versus somebody who wants to take their time, the person who is taking their time for the longest time should get punished. Like that's just how it is. Like you shouldn't be at an advantage because you want to waste time. And, so I'm glad they added that.
And I'm really, I feel two ways about it. Overall, I love it. I think it's awesome. But I'm a player that, like, my first turn is always my longest. Mainly because, like, I think about the next 5 moves. And so, like, I already know what I'm going to do turns 2 and 3. I have multiple scenarios in my head. And I'm like, all right, bet. All right, and then I go. And right, so turns 2 and 3 for me go by very quickly. I take 15 seconds, right? But turn 1 for me is going to take a minute 30, right? So I can think about all that. Now, that, in my opinion, is good and bad for the chess timer, right? Because I'm not stalling, right? I'm actively thinking. It's clear that I'm actively thinking, especially when you see that 15 seconds for turns 2 and 3. But it also is like, all right, so that means if I take a minute and 30 here, that means, damn, I only have 8 minutes and 30 seconds for the rest of the for the rest of the match to make all my
Right.
decisions. So it's going to force me to be a little bit more conscientious of my time, but it's also going to make me a better player, in my opinion, because it's going to make my decision making sharper, and it's going to make my decision making more effective because I know that I only have a certain amount of time. Uh, so I really, really like it. In I don't really care about the fact that they're no legendaries, because I expected that. I think definitely the most needed move is definitely the timer, in my opinion, because I think that's going to completely change the way that we play the game.
Definitely.
And I feel like a lot, like only players who play the game will know that. I feel like casual players it's going to be whatever, but to competitors, it's going to make a huge difference. Tournaments are going to run by faster, which I don't know
Which is
why.
always good.
Yeah, which is always good, but to be honest, like Pokemon tournaments, I don't mind them running long because, to be honest, I like them way more than Smash events. Like, just like,
So long as you can get in them.
yeah, man, that's yeah, right. Um, but to me, the most interesting thing was the fact that they banned Megastones just outright. And not only did they ban Megastones, I don't know if you saw the video earlier, but they completely nerfed the crap out of Mega Kang
I
because
heard about that.
because
Parental bond now does 25% damage.
25% as opposed to 50% is what it used to do. So I guess like that tells me two things. Number one, in VGC 2018, when we still have Sun and Moon, uh, they're gonna bring back Megastones, right? So the fact that they nerfed Kang in this game means that Megastones are coming back eventually, right? And the fact
Yeah.
just by the sheer fact that they even exist in this game. But secondly, I'm very interested to see how competitive Z moves work, right? Because they're essentially just a new version of gems back in Black and White. Uh,
I can see it.
like they're basically just new anime gems, but it's a very different game now, and a lot more moves have been added. I'm very interested to kind of see how stats work. Like, I'm assuming stab works, right? I'm assuming it would be the same,
Yeah.
but like, I'm assuming you can crit off of it. But like, I don't know. Like, it's not clear. So it looks like because we have yet to see a double battle, so we don't know if any of these moves are spread. Like, right, we don't know if any of these moves. We don't know the power. We don't know the accuracy. I'm assuming it would be 100 because that's a full commitment by item, or that they wouldn't have accuracy at all. Um, but I'm just very interested to see. I mean, how do you feel about Z moves in general? Like, do you think it's just like a thing that they added just to add it, or do you think like it's gonna be cool?
I think they're trying too hard. The fact that they banned Megas, that's everybody because Megas are just better overall. Megas gives you a stat boost for the entire battle, and then Z moves only gives you a boost for that one moment. And then if they swap out, let's say you use like Pikachu's electric Z move on a Mudsdale, it's wasted.
Mm-hmm.
Then what do you do?
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh well, shoot. I guess I just wasted my Z move. So I feel like they're trying too hard with it. It's not going to survive. Like it might be good gimmicky for a minute, and people are going to test them out. Definitely, they're going to be around. But most of them, I can't see really being around. One thing I actually discussed this a while back regarding Z moves. I was wondering if every Z move is going to be just a pure attack, or they're gonna be like similar ones like Eevee's, where it raises stats. You know, the
Yeah.
extreme Evo boost
Yeah.
gives a sharp boost
I
to
really
every
like
stat
that.
for Eevee.
I really like that one, by the way.
Yeah, it's pretty decent. So I was thinking, I proposed that okay, let's say the Fairy Z move is like a widespread healing wish,
Yeah.
where it'll heal your entire team by 50%. But the Pokemon that use the Fairy type Z move of healing wish, super healing wish, I should say, what is it? Faints. But it heals up your entire team. Would there be stuff like that? Would there be an option where you can where your Pokemon, all Pokemon on the field heals, let's say 12.5% HP for the next 5 turns, similar to Toxic Boost or
Mm-hmm.
Toxic Heal. Poison Heal, from Gliscor, similar to that. Like, will there be those options, or every single Z move just an attack? Those
Yeah.
are things that I'm curious about.
Yeah.
But for now, I just like if they're just attacks. Because of the fact that they take up an item slots and the fact that they can be blocked depending on what type of move you're using. I'm sorry, what type of Pokemon you're using it against. It can just, I can see it being more complicated than anything.
Now here's the thing that kind of blows me on this whole Z move thing is that Protect exists, and
Exactly.
and that's such a hard commitment. But then again, it's the same commitment with gems, right? It's the same thing. Like you just have to think of it as a gem. So I'm like, okay, if you can make them unblockable, but you have to lower the power. Okay, but then that defeats the purpose because ideally it's a full commitment to it's a 1-for-1 trade. I sacrifice an item so I can knock out one Pokemon. That's how it's theoretically supposed to work. So, but if you make it unblockable, then you have to lower the damage or else it's busted. So, and maybe we don't, like I said, we don't know, but like maybe these have certain properties. Maybe like what if, and just for hypothetical sake, what if you're not allowed to use Pokemon's Z moves on Pokemon of that type? Like, what if I can't use Pikachu's Z move on an electric type? That promotes some counterplay. So, like, what if Pikachu? I'm like, all right, he's gonna target my whatever, right? My fish with a Pikachu Z move. I'm gonna switch in my
Raichu.
my Raichu, and he's just gonna eat that because he's unaffected, right? So that kind of would be cool, right? So that way you can have some more counterplay. But right now, I don't see any counterplay. I don't see any of that. But I do think that if you add the idea of, like you were saying, with stat boosts or heals or PP would suck, or maybe you do a buff where you're both your like let's say, just because I can't think of anyone, let's say Porygon's in the game and he has a Z move. Let's say his Z move makes that Porygon Z move, right? Let's say his Z move allows you, both your Porygon and the other Pokemon that's next to it, next move to not be able to be blocked, right? That's kind of cool, right? Because it's a full commitment, right? But let's say it only works if that Pokemon stays on the board. So you're, you know what I mean? So like I'm like I said, I'm very I'm very interested to see if these work, but only if not all of them are attacks. Because if all of them are attacks, it's really boring and linear. So like yeah, I'm really interested to see how that works and how it kind of contrasts to Megas. If I had to pick, I definitely would prefer Megas. I think that Kang got nerfed a little too hard, in my opinion.
You think so?
I think 25%. Like, why am I do? I'm just gonna play Assault Vest Kang now. Like, why? Like, at that point, why, right? But, like, I think it's a little bit too much. I would have said, like, maybe 30%, 35%. All right, I think that would have been fine. But I don't know. I like Megas overall. I'm glad they're not gone forever as far as in the game, because I'm probably still going to use them for casual play. But
I just want to know if they're going to be introducing more. Probably not, but
yeah, probably not. But we will see. So I'm excited for VGC 2017. I think the rule set's very, very interesting. I just have to know more about the game to make a full informed decision. But right now, the best thing about this is that the chess timer is by far the best thing to ever happen ever to anything ever. So I'm really excited for that. Like I said, guys, you are watching the Battle Frontier with myself and PKSparkxx. Usually we are joined by Ian Lutz, aka that Lunatone guy. But he had trouble issues with travel. But we're looking to have, PK and I are looking to have like a different guest on. I'm trying to get a couple of my friends to get on here who are notable players of Pokemon. So we'll see if they will get on. This show is probably going to take place every 2 weeks. The next time this show is going to happen, I actually might make it. I'll talk to PK about it, but I want to do it after the Sun and Moon demo comes out, so that way we can talk about it, because I want to play Ash Greninja, because that man is OD. Best Pokemon ever of anime ever. Ash Greninja is... Why is he so strong?
I want to know more about him. I don't know. Who
All
is
right.
he? Why,
All right.
why is Ash Greninja translate? That means that... Does that mean that the anime is canon?
Yes.
So that means that.
Well, let me put it this way: the anime is so canon because you know why it's canon? Because Ash doesn't really do anything that has any implications on the world, so he's just kind of chilling.
But that means that we could theoretically actually see Ash versus Red.
Yeah, but Ash would get slapped.
But we could see Ash versus Red.
That's why. Why do you want to see Ash get slapped?
I mean, let's be real here. Ash does have some pretty solid Pokemon.
All right, but he would still get slapped. Like, are you wild?
I don't think he gets slapped.
Hello?
Don't forget the 4th gen. He was the only dude. He was the only trainer to take out the dude's Darkrai.
Okay,
Only person.
Well, to be fair, Ash Greninja alone could probably sweep half of Red's team. Like Ash Greninja's super OT.
As a matter of fact, doesn't Red get Mega Charizard X?
Wait, what?
Red gets Mega Charizard X. Remember when they did the Origins?
Red has Charizard X.
So, and guess who Ash lost to?
Damn.
Boom.
Bodied.
It ain't so cutthroat.
Bodied.
It ain't so cutthroat.
Freed up. All right. But well, yeah. So we'll see. Right now, we've been talking a lot about Sun and Moon, but we're gonna talk specifically about kind of what we're expecting from Sun and Moon and what more we want. I have some things that I want. So do you want to start with things that we expect or things that we want?
I mean, I guess either works.
All right, so let's start with things that we expect first, and then we'll go to things that we want.
I'm expecting to be disappointed by the lack of traditional gems.
Traditional gems?
Yeah. So what I want, traditional gems.
Damn. I mean, well, if you have Z moves, then like I guess the thing is like if Z gems exist, then regular gems have to exist, right? Like there's no.
I mean, no, not gems. Gems.
Oh,
like
gyms. Oh,
yeah,
gyms.
Pokemon gems.
Oh, gyms. You know, like Smash players, like gyms. But yes, so gyms, like the Brock, Misty, Lieutenant Surge, those guys.
Yeah.
Are you expecting to see that, or you want that?
I want that.
Okay.
I think that they're going with this whole new direction, and they're they're going with the whole new direction and whatnot. But personally, I want standard gems, and I hope they come out with it. I'm just not holding my breath on it.
Yeah. I don't know. I like it solely by the fact that it's something different. Like that's why I don't like it because I don't like what's different about it, but I like it that it's different. That they're saying, look, this formula, get them out. Like that's kind of like what they did with Ruby Sapphire, where they had the first gym that made you play doubles. Like that was very interesting. That was my favorite gym.
Only gem.
It was the only gym, but it was my favorite.
I wish they would do more stuff like that.
I like the idea of saying, all right, the formula works. We know it works. People are gonna buy this game. Let's experiment. And I really like this Kahuna system. And did you see like they have like the trials? I don't know what that is, but that looks dope.
The trials really just seem like, hey, you got to solve a puzzle, then beat a giant Pokemon, and then the Kahuna will battle you of the island, then you can go forward. It seems lame to me. Like just from on paper, that's what it seems like to me.
It doesn't seem like it has anything to do with the Kahunas, though. It seems like it seems like a separate thing without the Kahunas. Like it seems like a completely separate thing to me.
No, it's Island Trials, Trial Captains, Kahunas.
Oh, okay.
I think so. I could be wrong. I'm pretty sure it's that order. Either that or the Kahunas are seen as the Elite Four. I don't think that's how it is.
I hope it's not the Elite Four because then that defeats the purpose of the Elite Four. Because then at that point you're getting rid of gyms and the Elite Four. Because if all of them are the Elite Four, then what do you do post game? Like what do you do at the end? How do you beat the game? Do you just go and beat the one guy?
Yeah, basically, just champion.
That's crazy.
I'm telling you, Alola is more so like someone becoming an adult. Wait a minute. Are they trying to tell us that the longtime fans need to grow up and be an adult? Yo, is this the last generation of Pokemon? Oh my god.
I'm dead. I'm dead. I'm moving back in my chair. Dun, 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 dun,
This Undertaker wannabe.
No, like I mean, here's the thing. Like, I really like the thing that I love about this game or every trailer is that it seems like it's super about the world. Like the world is a character in this game, and the world is sets the tone, and it's all about the story. Like it's like you're this kid, and it's like, hey man, you're not. Don't worry about. I mean, yeah, obviously there's Team Edgelord, right? And like whatever, that's fine. You have to have
Oh,
that.
praise be the Team Skull
Team
Alliance.
Edgelord, get your Reaper playing it. Oh God.
Hold on, I gotta show you something. I gotta show you something. Just keep talking.
All
Keep
right.
talking.
But I don't know. Like, here's the thing about the whole thing. I really like the way that it's on this character arc where it's like the battles aren't just battles for the sake of being battles anymore. They're battles for the sake of like you becoming an adult, like you said. And I really
Yeah.
like that. I really think that's a really cool idea. And it kind of gives like I just like it when they're like, hey man, this thing works, but let's change it anyway to see if this also works. Like I think that's really, really cool. And I'm really interested to see kind of what happens about that. Hello?
Yo, without saying what it is, just look at what I put in the chat.
That's crazy. That's dope.
Yeah.
That's so dope. I wish.
Yeah.
Damn. That's actually sick.
Yeah.
That's so sick. Uh.
Praise be the Team Skull.
Praise to be the Team Skull. Team Edgelord. But I'm actually really excited. One of the things that I expect from this game is I expect grass Pokemon to get the buff that they've been waiting for. Which you can clearly see. Grass Pokemon have gotten good Pokemon every now and then, but like Dragons got a huge buff in Black and White. Water Pokemon got a huge buff in.
They've always been good.
They've always been good, right? Fairy Pokemon get introduced in the last game. Normal Pokemon got a big buff in X and Y and ORAS, in my opinion, just overall, because Mega Kang exists. But the thing is, grass Pokemon type-wise have always been one of the, if not, I mean, maybe Bug, but even then, probably grass, because Bug.
I'd say Fire. Fire type just seems to be like a really overlooked typing.
I don't know, man. Everybody loves fire types.
Everyone loves Fire type attacks.
I mean, if you ask like 10 people what their favorite Pokemon is, I can guarantee at least 4 of them are gonna say Charizard.
I mean, that's Charizard. They're not in love with the fact that Charizard is a fire type. They're in love with the fact that it's Charizard.
Okay,
I'm talking like if you're building a team, a competitive team, how often are you going to pick a fire type?
Okay, so let's look at recent years, right? So we had Talonflame, that was there forever.
That was more broken for its flying type ability than it was its fire.
No, it's more broken because it had priority.
Priority Brave Bird,
Yeah.
flying type.
Yeah, but the Rotom Heat. Rotom Heat.
Rotom Heat. I mean, weaker Rotom Wash. But I'll give you that.
Yeah, Rotom Heat was more of like a flex pick, like a counter pick.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
Let's Camerupt, really good. Mega Camerupt.
Stop. No.
I liked Mega Camerupt.
It hits hard, but no. It's in you for a reason. No.
Okay. I can't really use Groudon because that's obvious, but you could say
you could say Infernape and Blaziken.
Infernape, Blaziken. I think
Blaziken is more broken for speed boost than he is because it's a fire type.
I mean, I kind of see what you're saying, but at the same time, I feel like grass Pokemon aren't used at all. Besides, unless you're like Amoonguss. Like Amoonguss, unless you're playing singles, Ferrothorn. That's it.
There are a lot more grass types that get used. I mean, especially the grass poison typing that does so much. Like you're acting like Venusaur doesn't exist.
Okay, so okay.
OG grass type.
Okay, Mega Venusaur. What I played that in 2014 Worlds. I got 13th or 25th. I don't remember. At the Worlds Competitors Only side event. I got like 13th. Like it was out of like 112 players. It was awesome. Mega Venusaur is the homie. But I mean, I can think of a couple. Breloom is good. Whimsicott's good. Jumpluff always is going to be good. Chestnut.
Superior.
Chestnut is not that good.
Chill. It eats up so much hits.
I mean, it does, but I mean, does it though?
It does. I mean, yes, and it gets better with Bulletproof. Bulletproof Chestnut shuts down your usual Gengar unless he's carrying Sludge Wave.
Okay, all right. Superior, I would argue Superior. I would put Sceptile over Superior.
I can respect that.
But like I'm really excited because I feel like this is the game for grass type Pokemon to become like a main thing. Like if it was gonna be any other game, it has to be this game, just by the fact that we're in basically Hawaii. Like we are in Hawaii. Like one of the first Alola Pokemon they announced was what? Alola Executor. And
Exactly.
that boy is OD, and he is more of a dragon than Charizard will ever be. Like out here whipping his neck out, like
What that neck do?
like what does this neck do? It whips out. That's what it does. Um, and then the new grass Pokemon that they Rowlet is awesome. Rowlet is life.
Got even better with Dartrix.
Yeah, Dartrix looks like an edgy teenager, but that's fine. It looks dope.
Oh, he's an edgy teenager.
Yeah,
have you read the Pokédex entries? They're all teenagers.
They're all edgy teenagers.
They're all bratty. Yep.
And then the new Pokemon that came out, Trisemba, something like that. The one that doesn't have the one that doesn't let you use priority.
Bruxish?
No.
You mean the new ones?
Hold on. What's his name?
Dang it! I literally just had it. Hold on, I got it.
Oh,
Canada, home is Serena.
Serena, there it is. I found it.
I'm gonna say I know it was like a normal name. Yeah, it's literally Serena.
So that looks super good. That looks super fun to play. And I don't know, man. I'm just excited for grass type Pokemon. As over the past couple of years at MagFest, I have been the grass Pokemon gym leader for the MagFest Pokemon League. And I've just fallen in love with grass Pokemon. Water types have always been my favorite, but definitely I think that grass types have taken the cake just because, I don't know, man. They're all so, like, chill. Like, they're all just, like, chilling. They're all just like, hey, man, I'm not trying to scrap. I'm just trying to, like, sleep. Like, Amoonguss looks like he doesn't ever want to fight. He's just like, damn, dog. Like, why am I here again?
Amoonguss is love. Amoonguss, again, that's another great grass poison type with Regenerator, with Spore, with Sludge Bomb, with Clear Small,
Rage Powder,
Giga Drain, with Rage Power for doubles. Like he does so much, so much.
Yeah. So now here are some things that I want in Pokemon Sun and Moon. Which again, I don't know how likely these are, but this is what I want. The number one thing I want is I want basic Pokemon to still exist alongside Alola Pokemon. I want there to be that, like, the thing, like, I don't know what the story behind Alola is. I want an explanation of why they're like this. First of all,
there actually is an explanation for every single Pokemon that gets there. Like Meowth, the reason why he became Dark type is because he was sent there as like a gift to the royal family. But then while he was under the royal family, he became so pampered and whatnot that he became vain. And him becoming so vain is what changed the temperament of Meowth, going from normal to Dark type.
So you're telling me that canon wise, if I'm a jerk enough, I can become a Dark type?
I mean,
so you're saying that Dark Pokemon are all just big jerks, and that's why they're Dark type?
Oh yeah, definitely.
That's crazy.
Have you ever seen Sneasel and Weavile?
Have you ever seen? But how are you gonna call Absol a jerk though?
I mean, Absol has a dark past. I mean, it's the disaster Pokemon.
I mean, that's not his fault though. He was just born that way.
It's not his fault, but it's kind of like how, like, you may be a nice guy, but you've gone through so much that you've kind of just embraced the darkness that's around you. That's what Absol is.
Damn. We're getting a little.
I know some real edge. You're the one who brought it up.
Oh, you're right.
Don't get mad.
You definitely are Team Skull. That's crazy. Like you definitely are Team Skull. Like, there's no way.
You understand? They're my favorite team so far.
That's crazy. This man out here grabbing his hand like he's about to turn into like Phoenix or something. Like, he's like, like what is this? As soon as we start talking about Dark Pokemon are jerks, races, unfollow.
Wow.
That's crazy. But like, here's the thing. I want there to be the ability. So let's say I want basic Muck or basic Grimer. I don't want to have to transfer a Grimer. Why can't I just find a regular Grimer? Like
because the most Pokemon that have Alolan forms were brought over from another region. In this case, Grimer was brought over. And again, I read the Pokédex entry. Grimer was brought over to deal with the increasing garbage issue that Alola was dealing with the increased population. So they brought over Grimer so that way they can was they can eat the garbage, and the unique garbage that you find in the Alola region is what changed Grimer's personality. That's
But
how it became
but here's
a
the
dark
thing.
type.
Like I know I'm asking for the impossible. I'm asking for a Pokemon to be like canon wise makes sense, which is like what I shouldn't be doing that. But like if that was the case, why is Grimer the same literally everywhere else? Like this man is in France at the Eiffel Tower, he's still purple. This man is in Kanto, he's still purple. This man is in Johto, purple. Black and white, purple. Hoenn, purple. He's on the island. Man, this man looked like he ate a butt ton of lemon heads.
I have an explanation. I have an explanation. Remember, 6th gen is pretty much redoing all of Pokemon. I mean, think about why they did Oris. They redid the entire story of Hoenn with the introduction of all the Mega Evolutions and Primal Evolutions and whatnot. So they made Groudon that fire type he should have been from the very beginning. They evolved Rayquaza to the most broken thing in the entire game. Excuse me, but like that's the whole thing that they're redoing things. So yes, I wouldn't be surprised if we see Kanto come back later on with some few revisions, or they
Oh my
redo
god!
Kanto
Can you imagine
with anime and whatnot.
Can you imagine like a blue and red and yellow remake? That's what everyone was like.
Oh yeah, with new mechanics, it'd be low.
Like,
I mean, they already did it. That's why you would know that if that happened when you face Red at the top of the mountain and Heart Gold Soul Silver, he's gonna have Megazord X because they already redid it with Pokemon Origins.
Yeah. But yeah, so like that's one of the things. Like I want there kind of be some sort of continuity with Alola Pokemon. I also like, and another thing that I want